What is going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back again with another live stream. Unfortunately, we're not in the studio today, working from home, but we never stop, and we're giving you all the Tottenham news as we get it, and obviously previewing the big game against Brighton. Joining me today, we have the always brilliant, always available Mr. Brian Daigle. How are we doing, Brian?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm like the Pedro Porro of availability, aren't I? I'm always here when you need me. I am very, very good. I hope everyone in the chat is very good, and yourself, Sim.
Always good and always consistent as well. Always giving a solid performance, solid
There we
minimum
go.
at least performance. 7 out of 10 from the very least from Brian Daigle, always. Um, Look, we're doing well. We're doing well. We've got a big game this weekend. And I think these are the games which can catch you off guard a lot of the time, aren't they? These are games where you go into it. Yes, Brighton are a good team. We probably go into it slight favourites, given we've probably got better players. You know, we're a bigger team and stuff. But these are the games that catch you off guard, and you go into it too confident, and you end up getting bitten. And we've already seen Man City lose to Brighton already this
Mhm.
season. And Brighton, within their own right, are a very, very solid team. And they've under look, they've been Premier League kind of ever presence now for a while. So it's not a game we can take for granted. But look, before we get into a proper match preview, let's go into a predicted lineup. Um, so the injuries for this game are the same, really, as last time. He mentioned Dom Solanke. He's still kind of nursing that ankle injury, but he's back on the grass and he's training. Unavailable for this game, and he said unlikely to be available for the Doncaster game. But hopefully after that, I guess we'll see. He obviously still with Madison, Kulusevski, Basuma, Dragoshin all out, but Takai could be back in the near future as he's back training with the group. So Kota Takai does exist, Brian, and we could be seeing him very soon.
He does. It's not an illusion. He is here. It'll be good to see him, wouldn't it? It'd be good to see him, or at least back on the training pitch, to give Frank more depth, more options. We'll see when he'll get in. Maybe he's going to be used for Carabao Cups to ease him in, but having more strength in depth is never a bad thing, is it?
Yeah, absolutely. So, um, yeah, really, really great that we can potentially be seeing our new signing for the first time in the very near future. Everyone's quite excited about him. Just to touch on Basuma, he said hasn't had a moment's problem with him. He's in his plans, and if he trains well, he'll get an opportunity. That's what he was saying about Basuma. So.
Okay, well, we'll see if that happens. I mean, we've spoken a lot this week that at the moment, who gets into this midfield with all the players playing well? So I would imagine he's back of the queue in that, having not got any minutes. It's a great problem for him to have at the moment.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, even people like Archie Gray are probably going to be struggling to get opportunities, let alone
Yep.
someone like Basuma, who we were set to get rid of. All right, so let's start this lineup. In goal, Guillermo Vicario. I think we can all agree he is going to be starting in the keeper position. Um,
Yep.
he's probably, I reckon, how Brighton play. They like to attack. They like to go forward. He's going to have to be probably having a busy game, I would assume.
Well, let's just hope the defence are going to be like they were in every game except Bournemouth. You know, I spoke to you behind the scenes what I think might happen tomorrow. My prediction is every week, like you said. But yeah, Vicario is 100% starting in goal. That's an absolute certain, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. We go to the back four. Now
You're
we
going to keep back four. You're going to keep the back
okay, go
four.
to okay. We'll go to the defense.
Yeah,
You think Tottenham are going to go five at the back tomorrow?
I do. I do. I mean, I know I've been saying this every week, but the reason I say that is I think Thomas Frank would have learned a lot from the Bournemouth game. I really do. And obviously, he played a back four there, and we got caught. And that was the main problem. Obviously, Semenyo doing what he did down one flank, and then just always having the upper hand on us. And I just think, especially with Brighton, you got to remember Brighton did the double over us last season,
Huh?
and at home we're obviously 2-0 up and sailing, and then we capitulated. So if there is a game to do it and have that extra assurancy, I think this could be the one. I do think this one. I know I said it against West Ham, and obviously that was you went 4-3-3. But we keep saying that Frank is gonna learn and whatever, and I think he may. You've got the power of attorney and make the
Executive
decision. But
power.
I'm staking my claim. I'm staking my claim for a back three.
I think the reason I don't think go to a back three is because we still have Takai and Dragoshin injured. So if one of that back three does get injured, I guess you got Ben Davies that can come in, but I don't know if he would want to risk playing all our three senior centre backs in one game. I know he did it for the Super Cup. That was like a one-off game, like that was a cup final, and he felt that was the best way for that game. I just feel like in this game, is he gonna play all three centre backs? Also, when it's not, is it that necessary? We've played a back four with good success for defensively anyway for
Yeah,
the other games. I know at Bournemouth it didn't work out well, but since the Bournemouth game, we've kept with the back four, and we've beaten Villarreal, and we've beaten West Ham quite comfortably. So, yes, we've had our problems, but I don't know. Would he go back for? I mean, there's a chance.
do you know what? When you say about the injuries, we
Mm,
got Doncaster next as well, so people will get a rest. But then it's who do you rest? So do you know what? With the injuries, you raise a valid point.
mm.
You do raise a valid point. I hadn't put that into consideration. But we'll see. We'll see. But like I said, you've got executive power here. Um, we do what you say. You're your head coach.
I think he's going to go back four. I think. Yeah.
Okay,
What do you
that's what
reckon?
we do.
The chat. What do you reckon? Back four or back five? Um, but yeah, let's go back four. And
Okay.
with the back four again, we have the same conversation at fullback because Spence and Porro played again. Um, are they one of them needing a rest? Who, if it is, who is going to come in? We saw, I don't know if you saw the clip of a doggy doing some personalized training to work on his crossing. Um, that Spurs released today, so that was quite interesting. Um, yeah, I mean, what do you think? A doggy comes in finally? Is he going to get his first start of the season?
I personally would like to see him. I really would. And I think because Spencer's done so well, people were forgetting how good Destiny can be. And I understand that. I understand that part. But we've said that Simmons and Spence, all right, they've only had two games, but it hasn't quite worked, has it? And I would like to see Destiny start at left back, but I don't know if he's going to do that for Doncaster, where he can be a bit more flexible than the Premier League game. But I would like to see Destiny, but I think he will go Spence. What about you?
think Spence. So you think Spence and Porro again?
Um, I, I, I think so, but I personally would like to see Destiny on the left personally.
I
And
said
I didn't know the crossing bit you said. I didn't know the crossing bit from the training, so that is interesting.
yeah, and something I think he needs to work on if he's going to become like a
Yeah.
complete fullback. Yeah, I'm undecided here. I mean, Porro, can he just keep playing in perpetuity and not having a rest? It's crazy, isn't it? But you think yeah,
Yeah.
he might have a rest on Wednesday. Yeah, Doggy, you think you know what? I think I agree. I think he's going to go Porro and Spence again because they're playing so well and they're not looking tired or anything. And I think Doggy will get his first start on Tuesday against Doncaster. Sorry, Wednesday against
Yeah.
Doncaster. So I think you're probably right there. I think he carries on with the same fullbacks. Centre backs. Is it well? Obviously, you thought Dan Sowen would come in as well, but obviously Mickey and if we're going a back
Yeah.
four, it's going to be Mickey and Romero, isn't it?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, you can't separate them two at the moment, can you? Especially in the Premier League. One of them, one of them, if not both of them, will get a rest on Wednesday. So I think Premier League wise, you've got to go with those two.
Agreed. Now midfield,
Here
another
we go.
another tough one. I think does Paulinho come straight back in? I think
100%.
he does because I think actually he looked a little bit better when he came on as well on Tuesday. So I do think Paulinho comes in. Now who partners him? Frank was full of praise for Bergval in his
Yep.
press conference saying he's playing so well, he's got so much energy. He shouldn't have a problem playing kind of another game, and he's also doing a great job in the number 10. So does
Yeah.
he stay in his place? You also got Saar, Bentancur to consider. Where does Xavi fit in? Is he back on the left? Is he taking a breather? He's on the bench. So much to consider in this midfield. Uh,
I think Boval has to start. And also, I did love what we did it on Tottenham on tour. That Tottenham released some snippets before just on updated team news, and Frank was telling him as well that during games they've had to tell him to stop running into positions because he's trying. And I love that they're telling him that to try and coach him positionally. I don't see how off the back of two man of the match awards you can drop him. I think he's a definite starter.
in the 10?
But do you know what? We keep saying the 10. It's like he's playing two eights, really, isn't it?
It's true.
Sly's playing a 6 and 2/8. So I think they've been interchanged. Sarr and Bergvall have kind of been interchanging during the games, haven't they? So I don't know if we say partnering him because I think they'll be a little bit more advanced. But yeah, I think Bergvall is definitely one of them. Whether you want to put him there or the 10, I think they're both players eights though.
Okay, so we're going to put Bergvall in there. We'll put him as a 10 for now. Um, so who partners him? Bentancur or Sarr or Gray even? Does Gray get a shout run out? Um, Bentancur obviously played, did he play 90 minutes on Tuesday? Sarr's
Yeah,
been an ever-present. Um, is he at the moment kind of playing Sarr and Bergvall every game and just rotating Paulinho and Bentancur, it seems. In the last
yeah. Do you know what, Steve? If it hadn't been Doncaster, this would have been a little bit easier to get, wouldn't it? Because you'd think about the rotation for a Champions League game and everything. But I think he's going to heavily rest people on Wednesday. So that might be used. I put it's so hard to say this, but I think it might be Bentancur.
you
I
reckon
think it might
Bentancur?
be I personally think it might be Bentancur and Sarr to come off the bench. Like Bentancur was for West Ham and wasn't fully needed. I think Sarr, like you said, has started every single game. Paulinho, Bergvall, Bentancur haven't. Maybe it is Sarr's time to come off the bench.
Okay, I like that logic. I was going to lean towards Sarr to be honest, starting, but I do like the logic you've added. So let's put Bentancur, Paulinia, and Bergvall in the middle. Um, all right, off the left. Well, okay, let's start the easy one. Is Kudus getting another start here?
Yeah, I can't see how he doesn't.
Yeah, I think so as well. It has to be him. Now, a few interesting ways to look at this because Richarlison played obviously on Tuesday. Is he? Can he play again? Start again? You got Mwani who came off the bench. Is he fit enough to get a start? Obviously, you got Xavi Simons, Odegaard, Tell, all
Hmm.
to fit into two positions here. Brennan as well. Didn't even talk about Brennan.
Yep.
So, who starts off the left? It's a tough one. Is it Brennan, Xavi, Tell, Odegaard? You got four options there. Even Mwani, maybe,
Yep.
or Richarlison. Even he could play off the left. Literally got what, five options for one position. How are we going about picking this one?
I don't know, but do you know what? We spoke earlier again on Tottenham Tour, and there was a big discussion about does Mawani look fit enough? Does he look ready? And my argument for it was Ben Hoffman was saying no, I don't think he's fit enough to start. But I
Mhm.
was like, do you know what? He came on with 15 minutes to go in really a nothing game, didn't he? It really was stop start,
Mhm.
very very slow, lethargic. So he didn't really have a chance to spring into life. I would love to see him start up top. I would love to see him start up top. Because we need to be careful with Richarlison. Richarlison in the last few games hasn't had much to go on, has he? So I would like to see a change there, and I personally would like to see Mawani. What about you up top?
Yeah, I think we got to be careful, Rishi, as well, because we know the injury problems he's had. He ran his
Correct.
socks off on Tuesday. It's another tough game against Brighton, where he's going to have to be at his best. Yeah, I think maybe give Mwani a run out. I don't want to see him put Tell up front. I'm worried he might do that.
No,
Don't want to see that. If you're going to play Tell, play him off the left. Um, all right, we're going to give Mwani his debut.
there we go.
We're going to give Mwani his debut and see what he does. And then so the big one's off the left. Brennan,
Yeah.
Tell, Odegaard, Xavi. Does he just go Xavi again?
Well, he can't leave him out, can he? I think doing that is just he's not going to leave Xavi out. I mean, you were saying about Tell. I think he's going to use Tell Tuesday, isn't he? He's probably one of the first names on the team sheet.
True.
Wednesday. You've got Tuesday. My bloody head's in when you said it. Wednesday. I think he's definitely starting Wednesday. I think Xavi has to start on the left. He put it this way, we're not going to drop him or put him on the bench and rest him. I think he has to start on the left.
All right, Xavi back on the left-hand side. So that is your lineup, guys. Vicario in goal, Porro, Romero, Van der Ven, Spence, who are really kind of creating a really good unit there at the back.
Hmm.
Protected by Bentancur, Paulinia, with Kudus, Bergvall, and Xavi supporting Randall, Kolo, Moani. Um, it's good. The only problem I have is the way Brighton play. Do you want a kind of runner in behind? I guess Moani can do that. But I think from out wide, attacking those spaces, will he want someone like Brennan in the team for thought that because Brighton do leave spaces for you.
They do. Well, he scored last season, didn't he? There.
He did, yeah.
Um, Again, we have to. I mean, you look at it. I actually remember this game as well. Timo Werner had a load of space down that left wing. Obviously, wasn't able to do much with it, and had a goal. I think he had a goal disallowed or credited as an own goal, if I remember correct. They do leave space. They do leave space behind. But could someone like a Kudus thrive in that?
Mm.
The
Yeah, maybe.
quality is there this
But
time, isn't
Kudus
it?
doesn't like to run in behind. He likes having the ball to feet. He likes dribbling at players. Um, Maybe even too much sometimes. I feel with Kudus, he could release the ball a lot earlier sometimes. But yeah, look, I think it's a good lineup. I think hopefully it's got everything that's needed. Maybe with Mwani there as well, you've got someone who's more likely to stretch their defense rather than
Yeah.
Richarlison, who's not the paciest, is he? He's not slow, but he ain't. Mwani's got a different level of pace about him. So I mean, look, it's a good lineup, and you've got players like Sarr, Odegaard, Tell, Brennan Johnson, Richarlison, Adogi, Gray, all
And
on
so,
stand. So a lot of options, don't you? All of a sudden, you're looking at that depth. You're like, wow, there's a lot of options there. So that is our predicted lineup, people. Let me know in the comment section below what your predicted lineup is. Are we right, or do you think we've got this horribly wrong? Um, so let's now jump into a match preview against Brighton. Brighton have had a very weird start to the season. They've drawn at home to Fulham, then lost away at Everton, then beat Man City at home, and then lost away at Bournemouth. I think each game they played relatively well. Brighton, the
mhm.
Fulham game at home, they were leading up until very late on, and Mooney's got a last-minute equaliser, so unlucky not to win that. Lackluster away at Everton, albeit I think 2-0 maybe flat at Everton. I think they missed a penalty in that game as well, Brighton. Um, then we're 1-0 down against Man City, and it could have been more. They kind of hanging on, and then they went and turned it around in the second half. And then they gave a decent performance against Bournemouth before ending up on the losing side.
Mhm.
So Brighton are one of these tricky teams, extremely well run, very much like Bournemouth and Brentford
Yeah.
and Palace. Very, very well run team. And you've got to give Tony Bloom so much credit. I give a lot of credit to these kind of mid-range teams who, back in maybe 10 years ago and so it was like it seemed as though the only way a team like a Brentford or a Brighton could stay up is to play like Sean Dyche or Tony Pulis kind of
Yeah.
football. That was the only way they were gonna sustain themselves in the Premier League. But Brighton and Bournemouth are two examples of clubs who have seen that that isn't the only way. You can bring exciting attacking football and be kind of a team that is they're now part of the Premier League essentially. They're
Yep.
getting closer and closer to Europe every year. They're kind of stalwart now of the Premier League, and they've done it through smart recruitment, hiring ambitious, exciting attacking managers as well, and not being scared about if we play like this we're going to go down because they have a certain way of playing, but it works for them and they got the recruitment spot on, and it doesn't matter how many players they lose. It seems as though they keep going again every single year. And Brighton are definitely one of those teams, and I just give these teams and the hierarchies they have so much credit because they've found a way of sustaining themselves in the Premier League without kind of making every game a ball fest and having to win every game 1-0.
Well, I think a big part of that as well, what you got to give Tony Bloom and the backroom staff credit for, is they have kept the same philosophy with all the managers.
Mhm.
So they haven't chopped and changed like we have or other teams do with defensive, attacking, win now projects. They always go for a manager that will play the same kind of style, let's say the Brighton way, so to speak. And that allows their recruitment, which they are absolutely superb at. Not only do they find these players, but my God, the money they sell them on for after. And they just have another one off the conveyor belt, don't they? Look at Bournemouth, like you said. They lost three of their defenders last season. They've just brought in and taken off like nothing's happened. They deserve a lot of credit for what they do, and it's so refreshing. You mentioned the Man City performance. Well, they did it to us last season with a 2-0 lead,
Yep.
didn't they?
Yep.
They perform well at home. The great thing with it this year is, like you said, when we were just wrapping up the team lineup, is we have so many different options to bring on from the bench, like a guaranteed or easily could be first teamers and starters. So that has a huge impact on what we can do this season. But these games are normally very tight, haven't they? They've always been by the odd goal. It hasn't been a hammering from either side or a convincing win. It's been very, very tight, these games at home. Oh, and at Tottenham, to be fair. This is a team where we have mixed results against them for. So let's hope Thomas Frank can find the answer. And this is, I would say, and I've said it before, I think this is a bigger test than Manchester City away because
Mm.
of the Bournemouth game, because we seem to have Man City's number. This is okay. What did you learn from Bournemouth? How are you going to progress it and get the answers and answer the questions that were asked of you? And let's see what he's got. But this is a tough, tough game.
Yeah, and it's against these kind of teams where a lot of it's so easy to drop your guard. It's so easy to think that you're better than them because you're a bigger name and you should be going there and winning. When these are very, very tough games, and these are the games where you learn a lot from your team when you're up for it against a Brighton on a Saturday afternoon when they're going to be up for it, they're going to be coming at you, and you need to be your very best. Like you drop off your standards, and teams like Brighton can punish you, absolutely punish you, and this is going to be a very tough game. They've got so much quality as well in their team.
Hmm.
They've got a fantastic, there's no reason why everyone always seems to raid Brighton every year as well because they're brilliant recruitment. I think Yakuba Minto and Mitoma on the wings.
Yeah.
They are in for a difficult ride, which is why actually do we want to Spence and the doggy there just to make sure those wings are not getting punished because Mitoma and Minte are so dangerous, so
Yeah.
good dribbling. They're fantastic with the ball at their feet, and Brighton definitely do very well to kind of get them involved as much as possible, getting them running at your fullbacks. And yeah, Porro obviously struggled against Semenyo, and he's going to be up against Matoma this time, and it's going to not going to be an easy game for him.
Do you want to make a late change to the predicted lineup, or is it locked in? Now you said
Locked it
that.
in now. We've locked it in. I kind of feel like maybe he will go Spence in the doggy though, because well, why? What do you feel? Do you feel the same?
As soon as you mention the wingers, then you start thinking. Then you do start thinking. But then you look at, is Destiny 100% fit? Is he ready? He's getting the minutes. But like I said, I'd like to see him start, and maybe he can't last a whole game. But would you rather have him in for those reasons and then bring on a Porro or a Spence and switch Spence over? Well, it's a tough one now that you've mentioned those wingers. It's a tough one.
Either way, it's going to be a tough day. They rely so
Yeah,
much on their creativity. You got Rutter, who I'm a big fan of his as well. They've got him in the kind of number 10 position. Belabor, I mean, what a midfielder he is. We're going to have to try and dominate him in the middle. Um, I do look at their back line and think, can we get their back line? Is this, they leave themselves open sometimes. And I think individually they're good defenders, but as a unit, I think definitely their back line is something we can look at and think, can we get the advantage there? But I do like Van Hecker. He's a very good centre back.
yeah.
We'll have him tall, strong. He's like a bit of a Van der Ven light, I feel, Van Hecker. And I like him.
A light. Yeah, but also remember, just before we came on live on the stream, it was announced that Brighton could have two players out, one of them being Hinshelwood, who absolutely destroyed us
Mhm.
in the final game of the season. Right, half the team were obviously still celebrating the Europa Cup victory. And the other guy, De Croya, is that how you pronounce his name? So that could have an impact.
Yeah, I think it's Decipher.
Just like, there you go. My bad
Mm.
for trying to. That's why I don't try and do these words and I butcher them. So yeah, let's go decipher.
Couldn't decipher what his pronunciation was,
There
Brian.
we go.
Yeah, so yeah, he's missing, but they do have Kadioglu coming. He's back fit again, so he's available. And they've just built themselves such a nice little squad of good technical players.
Yeah,
It's just smart recruitment. They always sign these players no one's ever heard of. I look at their bench. I probably haven't heard of half their players yet. They always turn out to be amazing every
they do.
time, and they sold over 100 million.
It's incredible. This is the thing. Brighton deserve a lot of credit for what they do. And like you said, I think unlike Bournemouth, who have been relegated and come back, Brighton haven't been relegated since they've been here, have they? They have literally, like you said, they've become like a staple of the Premier League list. You don't even ever question the thought of them struggling. And it's a fair play to how they've built the vision that they've had. And every season, as you said correctly, they're now a top half fixture, aren't they? As opposed to bottom half, and it's an incredible journey.
And they're getting closer and closer to Europe every year. Almeria
Yeah.
really unlucky.
They've been in Europe one year, haven't they?
Were they in Europe? Yeah, they were in it. They were in it a couple of years
They
ago.
were in it once. See, I can't remember if it was the Conference League or the Europa League, but they definitely made it into Europe one season.
Mm. Yeah, because I remember they played Ajax. They had Ansu Fati in their team. Do you reckon though their model? Because I remember it was quite similar to Southampton a few years ago, where Southampton had an unbelievable squad, and they kept like recruiting very smartly and just selling their players to Liverpool and other
Hmm.
big teams. But it caught up with them at some point. They just couldn't keep doing it. And at the end of the day, like how long can you just keep finding that talent and keep sustaining yourself in that way unless you're really, really good at recruitment? Like at some point, they're going to have to get into a position where they're keeping these players and then building off it, or is it sustainable to just to keep every year selling them and reinvesting that money?
I think it's a bit of both, Sim. The more and more they do it, and if they can get, if they, let's just say they got Conference League or Europa League, and they made it that they were a fixture in it, maybe that changes how they look at it and how they do it. But you know, they are just so far ahead of everyone when it comes to it. I mean, you got to remember Southampton also had that incredible youth academy to also add players to the youngsters that they found. Their youth academy at one point was absolutely insane,
Yeah.
uh, and they had that. But Brighton, when they get these players, you never hear any other team kind of looking at them, do you? And you got to think right now, if you're a talent that Brighton are looking at, and they do come in for you, even if they do have rivals, you'd look at Brighton and say, well, look what they do for players. Look at the stepping stone, or I don't mean to be disrespectful to Brighton, the pathway you get
Yeah.
from Brighton, getting regular football, getting established, and then moving on. If put it this way, we used to talk about if you're a youngster and Ajax came in for you, you want to go to Ajax
Mhm.
because of what they do, or a Southampton. But I think that's the same for Brighton right now with players of this caliber.
Mhm.
They can see a clear pathway and how they look after these players. I think they're the front runners in these kind of things.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's clear evidence that what a move to Brighton can do for your career, I think,
Yeah.
clearly what's happening. So I think they have really good selling points from that point of view. And yeah, they've done a phenomenal job. So it is not going to be sorry, it's not going to be an easy game
No.
whatsoever going away to Brighton. Like, do you go there expecting a win? If
Yes.
I told you today it's a draw, would you be like, that's a really bad result? Or would you, yeah, you know what, Brighton away, you can lose those games.
Put it this way, there's certain games where I always say, would you take the draw now or would you roll the dice? And this one, I roll the dice. I think this game might be the game where we see a lot more from the front line and midfield being creative. I think this kind of game, the way Brighton play, may allow us that space and time on the ball. And unlike Bournemouth, the Bournemouth fixture, we didn't have Xavi Simons.
Mhm.
So I think there's going to be added quality there and creativity. So I think this could be the game where we see the first real stepping stone into what a frank attacking team can do. So this game, I'm definitely rolling the dice. Put it this way: if it's a draw, it's another game without a defeat. But I would roll the dice. I do think we win, and I'm looking forward to this game being a very open game of football.
Yeah, I'm kind of undecided. I'm just looking at how we're playing at the moment, and I think it's going to be very tough to go there and play like that and expect to win. I think we can win. Obviously, our defensive unit is so solid. So if we can get a goal and just hold them out, because I still think as much as they've got unbelievable quality, they are still relying on that Danny Welbeck up front. Russ is not the most clinical player. So they are players you can shut them out in terms of they missing that little edge in the forward line, I think, Brighton. They've got like a lot of good players. There's no one I fear like if we give him a chance, he's definitely going to score. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I feel like they've got players there who can cause problems, but they're not like guaranteed to get a goal. So I do think if we can get in the lead, manage the game, I do think there's a good chance to win. But just Brighton are there's one of these teams where you think you're going there as favourites, but then you realise how tough your game you're in for when once a game kicks off, and they're going to be right on top of us. They're going to be at home. You know, they're going to be playing attacking football. They're going to bring it on us. So it's about us riding the storm, not taking this game for granted, making sure we're doing all the right things defensively, and then just being very careful when we get the forward line. Because I think we can all agree our attacking play is just not quite there yet.
Hmm.
Frank's admitted it himself. So
Yep.
I hope it starts to click. But I don't know whether, when it comes to like attacking play, whether that's something that's is that going to be a gradual thing where over time we just start seeing gradual improvement in it, or is it going to be just one game and it's going to click in there and like bam, we're going to be flying? So I don't know what kind of how it's gonna happen, but I do think because the way Frank describes it in his press conference, he said we're building layers into our attacking play,
Yep.
and you know, and at the moment we're still doing that. So that kind of tells me, is it going to be a gradual thing where we're gradually starting to see more from this attack? So do I think we're just going to be flying tomorrow? I mean, I'd love to see it. I don't know if that's going to be necessarily the case. We're also playing a team that's been together now. This is Hertz's third season. They're very settled together. A lot of these players, I know they sell a lot of players, but a lot of these players have been together a while. So I don't go there expecting the win, to be honest. I don't. I think we will do very well to win there. I said sort of something very similar in the Villarreal game, and obviously we did win. But I said it's
Hmm.
not going to be a comfortable win. I said it's going to be a win that's going to be very difficult. I don't expect to win comfortably like 2-0. I'll be very impressed if that happens. I think if we do win, it'll be very, very tight margins. And I think that's exactly what happened. Um, so I think I'm going there thinking a draw will be a decent result. I'm not saying we're go I'm not I don't think there's a good chance we lose, but I also don't think there's a good chance we win. I think a draw, I think I'm probably going to be a draw, to be honest. That's kind of my feeling. I think Brighton are a very good team where most teams would do well to go there and win. So I don't go there expecting a win in just where we are at the moment, just how I'm seeing us playing. So I think probably like something like a 1-1. Like I think Brighton might have spells where they're dominating possession. We have might spells where we're counter-attacking, getting opportunities, but I feel we might find it difficult tomorrow, to be honest. So I see maybe a 1 or maybe a 2-2, something like that. But I think Brighton are a very good team and we can't take them lightly tomorrow.
Do you know what? How the tables have turned. Because people used to be, I'm negative, I'm toxic. And I said, you see when Thomas Frank comes, how positive I'll be. Then you add the sprinkling of Levy gone. And then you chat, mate, I am the most positive and excited Spurs fan at the moment. I am absolutely loving where we are. You say the layers. Do you know what I look at or I read into it when Thomas Frank says layers? I'm thinking he means the correct combination of
Hmm.
forwards because obviously we need to see he's probably trying so many different variations. He's probably got Justin Cochran trying loads of new things and coaching. It's such an exciting thing
Yeah.
to be at the moment. And like I said, I know where you're going with Brighton, being a hard place to come. But I literally at the moment, I'm not saying where I am with Pete Potch in the last season of the Lane, where it's like, right, we're in it, winning every game. But I think the biggest question for us was not whether it will be open play or whatever. I think the biggest question is now, if Spurs score first,
Hmm.
do you trust Spurs to see it out? And
Yeah.
100%. Now I mean, last season and prior seasons, you would go, yeah, we need more than one goal to get the job done. We need that. The way the defence are and the way Vicario has performed, should Spurs score first, like we did Villarreal. I mean, seasons gone by, even with Mourinho, 1-0 in the fourth minute. Do we trust Spurs to see out the gate for 86 minutes? I think that would be debatable
Hmm.
at times. I really do. Whereas now it's like, okay, I've got every faith, set pieces, and in open play that will lock this down. And I do think tomorrow we do concede a goal. I do think there just might be too much with Brighton to concede a goal, but I'm going for a very convincing 3-1 win.
3-1.
I'm going, we're going to get the 3 points. I really do think we are in such a good place. And all these games where, like Villarreal, where we didn't perform well, let's say, but got the job done, I think that is breathing so much confidence into the players that, do you know what, we can win ugly. We can have a poor performance like overall, but get the job done. And I think the momentum is building. We've gone to West Ham away, a place where we notoriously don't really get the right results. Clean sheet, biggest win since 1967. Back in the Champions League, Thomas Frank's debut. 5 players making their Premier League debut, Champions League debut. Yeah, it weren't the greatest spectacle, but it's 3 very valuable points.
Mhm.
And I think the same thing happens tomorrow. But I think we have a much more attack-minded game tomorrow than we have seen recently.
Yeah, I think so. And I think Brighton will play into that because I think Villarreal naturally a bit more of a defensive team.
Hmm.
They're very organised. Brighton, they'll definitely try and beat us. They'll definitely try and score goals, and that should hopefully suit us. Look, and I take your point. I agree. I don't think this is me saying just because I don't think we'll win. It's not me saying like I'm not happy with how things are going or
Of
I
course.
don't believe in the manager. I'm just seeing how we're playing right now in the current, in a few weeks' time, it might be different. But at the moment, how we're playing, how Brighton play, where we are in this stage of this project, I just don't expect, I don't like think, oh, we're definitely going to go there and win tomorrow. Like, I just feel probably, draw wouldn't be a bad result. I think it probably will be a draw tomorrow. And I think that would be, it wouldn't be a negative result necessarily going away with Brighton and drawing. I don't think I would be happy with it. I wouldn't even necessarily say if you offered it to me now, would I take it? Probably not. Because I do think we're good enough to win. But I get the feeling tomorrow is going to be a very, very difficult game for us. And I think if people expecting us, not you necessarily, because I know you're not,
Yep.
but if people expecting us because we're on this run of good win or good results, if people think we're just going to rock up to Brighton and just easily win, I think people might be surprised. Albeit if we do that, that will tell me a lot, to be honest.
Yep.
As that, like I said to Brains, if we go and beat Villarreal comfortably and it's easy for us, I'll be like, okay, wow, we're really on something serious now. But we didn't do that. Obviously, we won, but
Yep.
we just about beat them, which is great. But it didn't that I'm saying that in performance didn't tell me we're just going to go to Brighton and blow them away comfortably. It's going to be a difficult game. We're going to have our struggles still. I just want to see a bit more from us in that attacking phase, but that will come. As Frank said in his press conference as well, he said he was talking about the differences between coaching and defense and attack, and he said, coaching and defense is different because when it comes to attack, it's all about building those relationships with players, and that's where the free flowing football comes when you know what your teammate's going to do before he even does it, and you can play on instinct with the knowledge of what they're going to do before they do it, and that can only simply come with time. Yes, occasionally a player comes and hits the ground running, maybe if they're really good, or usually it happens when you've got like a settled defense. Let's say I don't want to hate using this example, but let's say it's with Arsenal, Ryan Gyökeres.
Hmm.
It can happen a bit quicker because they've got a settled team with like Saka, Odegaard, Martinelli. You're just adding like a final piece. So that attacking football's already in place, and you're just adding one piece. We've changed our whole front line. Kudus, Simmons, uh, either
Mawani.
even Richarlison, you can say is kind of new because he's barely.
Yep.
And you got Moani there, and Bergval's now playing a bit further forward. So that's like a completely new front line basically compared to last season, where we have Son, Kulusevski, Madison. So they're basically having to learn essentially all these different relationships from scratch. That ain't gonna come immediately. You can't just put 5 new attackers to play into a team and go, okay, go play, go and do fluid football. That comes with time. So
Yep.
it's no surprise to me that we're looking a bit stodgy at the moment because the whole front line has changed. It's all different. So that's not going to happen immediately. It's going to take a few weeks, even months, to really click into gear. So I'm not expecting us to be playing free-flowing football at the moment. Now, if we had Madison, Kulusevski, and Son playing, and we just added a Moani or something, maybe I would be expecting a bit more because those guys know each other. But because
Yeah.
there is a brand new front line, it doesn't surprise me that we're looking the way we are at the moment.
So what I will ask is, Tim, and when you said it, I'd be a good question for you to answer, and for the people in the chat. I don't know where people stand on this. Forget the Thomas Frank or whatever, but what do you think Spurs, as Spurs fans, are learning more from now? Do you think a convincing 3-1 win, let's just say a convincing 3-1 win against Brighton, is that telling us more, even though we know Spurs can attack as a football club in previous years we show, are we learning more from a 3-1 win, or are we learning more from a 1-0 like Villarreal,
Mhm.
where we played poorly but saw the job through? Is that telling us more about where Spurs are right now than if Spurs go win 3-1 and play attacking football the way we have done in years gone by? I don't know which one we learn more from. Obviously, you want to see from the view on the eye test. Obviously, you want to see a 3-1 open attacking game of football where Spurs dominate and we win the game. But we know we can do that. We know from previous years, previous man, we can do that. What we haven't learned is winning the ugly way and doing it. Obviously, like I said, so the eye test is obviously the 3-1, but where do we learn more from?
I know, I agree with that point, and it's getting a gritty 1-0 win where you're not conceding many chances is good, and we need to be capable of that, 100%. But I guess my only point would be the longer it goes on, where we're not seeing good
Yeah,
attacking
that I agree.
football, or we're not seeing this team click, the more questions are going to be raised. But I guess look, the longer we're winning, it doesn't really matter too much. But
Exactly.
you want to see that the Frank is capable of getting this team to play good attacking football at
Yeah.
some point. And as great as it is to win as we are now, I don't think, to be honest, it's sustainable to play like we are now over a whole season and expect to win the amount of games we want to. Um, Albeit the defensive side is brilliant. Don't get me wrong, it's great. But and again, I'm not saying I expect us right now to be playing great attacking football because of what I've just said. All these different things need to click. I'm just saying the longer it goes on, the more questions are going to be asked. Okay, when is attacking football coming? When are we going to start to play good attacking football? Can he
Hmm.
coach good attacking football? I mean, I know he can, but I'm just saying
Yeah.
the questions will come if the longer it goes
Yeah.
on. So every game, it's like, okay, is this the game where it clicks? Is this the game? I'm not saying it has to be the next game. I'm not even expecting it to. I'm just saying the longer it goes on, let's say come December and we're still not seeing it, all of a sudden, okay, well, the questions will be asked. What's happening? Why aren't we playing good attacking football yet? So I guess that's kind of what I'm feeling. Why are we still having these kind of struggles in possession, all these things, blah, blah, blah. But I think right now, look, he's still very early on, and he's got obviously, and we're winning. So look, that's great and
Yeah.
fantastic, and he's doing a phenomenal job. He's doing a phenomenal job, Thomas Frank. I can't really say a bad word. I think what he's brought in is exactly what we've been missing when it comes to little details in the game, set pieces, getting those things right, because those things are only going to add to your game once you are playing well, once you have got the attack right. And then all of a sudden, they're going to have to find ways to stop you attacking and as well try to find ways to stop how you're getting goals
Mhm.
on the other side, which is those set pieces and all these different things. So it's just going to be another weapon to the armory. But just right now, it just feels like those are the main ways we are scoring, where those should be add-ons, if you know what I mean. Those should be little sprinkles on top of good attacking play. Whereas right now it's
Yeah.
like we're focused on that, which is look absolutely fine as long as we're winning. But once we stop getting the results and that's still the main focus, then questions will be asked.
Yeah. I mean, obviously having Xavi there as well as Kudus now to create is a big, big thing. I think as well, like we said, we've literally had to scrape through the start of this season with Richarlison and Tell
Mhm.
up front, which obviously limits their styles of play. Now there's Mawani. Hopefully, let's just say after the international break, just to be on the safe side with Solanke. Whether people like him or not, that's another attacking option. Then soon, as we're approaching Christmas and everything, Kulusevski, the options are coming in. The options are coming in, and I think, like I said, I've got no doubt that Frank will get the attacking and Justin Concrane will get the forward line firing.
That's what he said as
But
well.
you
Frank
don't,
said he's got no doubt this team will score goals.
yeah, and this is what I also like. He comes out and he addresses the issues. He's not hiding from, okay, yeah, let's talk about the great defensive work. He's like, no, I know that the attacking play at the moment is not where it should be, but we'll get it there. And I think everyone should be having faith in Frank for what he's shown, not only defensively to come in and fix that, the emergence of Sarr this season, who has been, again, for me, the most improved player, the emergence of Bergval, who did very well under Ange, but is now showing both attacking and defensively what he can do. You can see it with certain players that are starting to improve, the partnerships that are starting to build. And once he's got that hammered in, like we said, I think we can all agree he hasn't been able to play whatever he has in his head as his first choice 11 in the first choice formation that he's wanted to play it. And I am very, very excited for when we first see that.
Absolutely. Yeah, so look, it's going to be, I think we will learn a lot from the team tomorrow and
Yep.
exactly what happens on the pitch. I think we're going to learn a lot, see where the team at from Frank's point of view. I really hope tomorrow is the day it starts clicking and then we'll better for it. If it doesn't, we can still get the result. It shows that Frank can keep getting results even in the meantime while things aren't completely clicking, which is a um, brilliant kind of ability to have. And he said it himself as well, Frank. Like, everything it's not going to click every game, and you can't just um, give up easy games and results when just sort of off the back of games not clicking. You still need to find a way, and right now we are, and that's fantastic. That's fantastic, but at some point we're going to have to show a more ability to attack, and that's
Yep.
it just has to happen. I'm just the only point I make is that we are still waiting for that to happen, and that's fine. I'm not running out of patience or anything. I'm just saying it hasn't happened yet, but it will happen. I'm pretty certain about that. I think Frank is a very smart manager, a very clever manager. He said he's watched all four of Brighton's games this season and some games last season. Like, he puts the work in, doesn't he? And
100%.
I think he's juggling so far when it comes to rotation. Um, he's struggling juggling both competitions fairly well. Um, Interesting. I was listening to his press conference as well, and he said something which I think if Ange would have said it, people would have accused him of being certain thing. But he said he was asked about, uh, did you drop off against Villarreal and 1-0? Did you look to protect the result? And he said, look, for me, how I want my team to play, even if the score's 1-0 at all phases of the game, I want my team to be pressing high. I want my team to be aggressive and high press. And I was thinking, like, if Ange would have said that, he would have been told he only plays one way and he only has his plan A. But Frank said it and it's fine. But I thought it was quite interesting he said that because you don't associate Frank with saying things like that.
I think what I know where you're getting with that, but I think Frank at the moment, with four clean sheets out of five, has got the bit of faith and trust to say, do you know what? Let's see, because we want to see, like people say, they want to see the attacking football,
Hmm.
but he's doing it off a solid base.
Hmm.
When Ange said that, it was we're going to play this way, we're going to play this way, we're going to play this way, and obviously after 22 defeats
Hmm.
in a season, and you keep hearing the same thing, it's like,
Yeah, I
okay,
hear
we you know what I mean? That's the difference. At the moment, Frank, although it's only a small sample size, has shown that clean sheets can be reached, and probably that is he wants to see it more high press, so he can be more effective. But one of the things I love him is when you were, I don't know if it was actually in Hong Kong or Korea, but it's such a minor thing, but I love seeing it. You were at the open training when they're doing the defensive shape on the halfway line where they're all coming back in a line together and making sure that that offside rule was done.
you.
It's just those small tinges, and I've heard fans say as well in the pre-game training when they're coming up before kickoff, they're literally doing these defensive drills with like going for the last, like putting your body on the line. And there has definitely been, which I have seen with Van der Ven, Paulinho, they're all putting their bodies on the line and literally the last ditch defending has improved greatly from these training drills. So now he's got that on lockdown. Saying I want to see more high press is the right thing to say. In the Ange Postecoglou ones, it's the last thing we wanted to hear. So
No, but
that.
he didn't say I want to see more high press. He said even if my team's 1-0 up, whatever the scoreline is, I want my team to be high pressing. That is what Frank
Well,
said.
again,
I thought it was interesting.
it, yeah, no, it's very interesting. But that's the thing. When he's keeping clean sheets,
Mm,
and it's got it would be nice to see, wouldn't it? But he's
yeah.
building off a solid base now where he can say, do you know what? If we do high press, the structure of that defense, and let's be fair to Frank, unlike Angie, he's got a fit defense.
Hmm.
He's got at the moment, he's keeping the defenders fit, rotating and doing what he has to do with the substitutions, is allowing him to keep this defense in place. And let's just hope that it gets more and more. I mean, you can't get more solid than it is right now, can you?
One
Um,
goal conceded. What can you say?
yeah, yeah. I mean, if any of us had said at the all your predictions, if you said how many goals conceded within four Premier League games or five in general, if you want to, and I don't think anyone would have said one.
Exactly. No, yeah, for sure. And we've done a great job so far. Let's hope it continues tomorrow. But look, that is your match preview for the game against Brighton. Let me know in the comment sections below what your thoughts are ahead of the game. I want to thank Brian yet again for being on stream with me. And go and subscribe to Tottenham on Tour. If you want to give Brian some more love, go and show him some love. Go and subscribe to Tottenham on Tour. I'll be in the studio tomorrow for the watch along with Ash to go through all the drama which is set to happen tomorrow. And there's set to be a lot of it, I'm sure. Hopefully, we go and get the job done. But we'll see you very soon. We'll see you tomorrow for the watch along. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you
Come on,
Spurs.
you Spurs.